Hi guys, my name's Dan Valia. Life was a lot different before I met Jesus. I mean, I knew when I was a kid, I went to church and I knew of Jesus. I just didn't know in depth of like the things he would do in my life and the things he's done in other people's lives, and just the way it was like taught to me, it didn't feel right to me. Be a certain way or act a certain way, or so it just, church to me was didn't feel right, so I stepped away from it for 15 years, and I didn't think about it for probably 10 years of those 15 years. I just God was far away, and then like 5 years ago when I met Melissa, I mean, she'll share her story, but we both stepped away for different like reasons, but similar reasons. And like we talked about it, randomly, like, hey, it would be cool to find a church or just see how it goes and see how we feel going back to church, because I was nervous. I just felt in those years like in a way lost, to be honest, right? So to find a partner and like finally be where I am now than I was, like, looking at myself 10 years ago, I was a totally different person than I am now. 5 years ago, like I said, like I moved back to BC from Alberta to be closer to my kids, to my boys, and I met Melissa and we started dating, and it was just, we had a lot of values that lined up. Talked about Christianity, we talked about Jesus, and I never really before that talked to any of my previous partners about that, right? So it was like, to me, it was amazing to find someone that I can go deeper into, faith, or talking about it without it being weird or whatever it may be, right? And just like slowly we started talking about it, and it was just like Blue Avery, our daughter, was like, hey, one of my friends is inviting us to her church. Let's go check it out. And I was like, I wonder how it's gonna be. Like, I'm like, are people gonna judge me? I automatically felt like anxious when we were gonna go, like that, like leading up to that Sunday. I was like, what are people gonna say? How are people gonna look at me? What are they gonna think? Are they gonna judge? You know what I mean? All those feelings. So when we came and I shook your hand, Josh, and you just had a smile on your face, and I remember shaking Sergio's hand, and he had a smile on his face, and Connor's, and you guys all had like just this amazing, I don't know, it was just like this warmth and like welcoming presence with you guys, and it just felt, to me, I felt that. I still remember that feeling, even like 2 years, so that to me was like a stepping kind of like first step into accepting Jesus as my Savior, and it's amazing. I'm totally a different person than I was even 2.5 years ago. So right. Yeah, I think it was a few Sundays after where it was the fundamentals. That's what it was, fundamentals. And I remember really it just the way you talked about it, about like church should be for everyone. It shouldn't just be, that's what stuck with me, and you still preach that, which is amazing to me. When you preach those words, I tear up and I get emotional, because that's me. That's who I am. I'm not a perfect person, and I made mistakes in my life. So for God and Jesus to love me and show me grace. The first time I heard you talk about our church should be for everybody, and our church, like, that's what we preach, is for everybody, and no matter what walk of life, no matter where you came from, no matter your past, that's what we strive here, and that stuck with me, and it still does. So that's amazing. I would say our first small groups. I gotta give a shout out to Steve, Marie, Dylan, Harmony for sure, because they were there with us from the beginning, and Chris and Crystal were there too. And then a big shout out to Pastor Josh, because every Sunday I actually look forward to sermons, and I never, like when I was growing up as a kid, I thought those were the worst. Sermons were the most boring. And then my men's group, all you guys, man, you guys have been awesome, and you guys have helped me in my journey. And one of the hardest things I've gone through, and with having my heart surgery, the guys were there for me, and the whole church was there for me and for my family. So I'm here to say that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I accept him with all my heart and soul. Yeah.